Alright, sorry guys, I had to change cameras there. Where I was heading, we're trying to remove this upper fan cover. There was the 2 bolts up top, which I said, and then also on the sides there's 2 push rivets, one here and one here. See those 2 holes? It's just a plastic push tab rivet or whatever. You just got to pull up that center part, and then this whole thing will come out. Well, it'll look like that when it's in there, and then you lift that up. Once we do that, we'll be able to hold this radiator hose out of the way, and this whole unit will come out and give us some room to work with. Alright, you can see I got that fan cover out of the way, and that gives us all this room back here to work with. This is the pulley we'll be focusing on for the power steering pump. But what I also like to do, you don't have to, there's a lower section to this fan cover as well. It's already loose, it doesn't require any loosening. But I like to take that out as well, and what you'll do is you'll tilt it forward. I can't really do it with one hand, but you'll tilt it forward like that. Damn it, you can't really see. But anyway, tilt it forward and it's in there like this. Say this is the bottom. You tilt it forward and it'll come out like that. And you can get that out. And that also gives you a little more room when we get down there trying to remove that pulley. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove your serpentine belt here. If you don't know how to do that, just over here on the edge, this is your tensioner. I believe this is a 15 millimeter, but anyway, just put a wrench on that and you'll crank it back. This whole tensioner will move this way and it'll loosen the belt, and you can pop that right off. So I'm going to do those 2 steps and move on. Woohoo! Okay, got that lower fan cover removed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you won't see it there anymore. But then also you can see I got the belt pulled off. So it was a 15 millimeter. I'll just demonstrate. This is the tensioner bolt right here. Once you get your wrench on there, you see that the whole unit moves, and that allows you to have some slack to pull the belt off, and then be easy when you're going back down. It does have quite a bit of tension in there. Put it down like that. Alright, so here's our power steering pulley. Here's our power steering reservoir. So what I'm going to do now, I like to get this little battery box out of the way. I'll open it up. There's a bolt in there that you can remove all these cables, and then there's 2 of them here bolted to this block side. So I'll get that out of the way, give me a little more room, and then we'll go ahead and take this power steering pump out. Alright, got the little battery box removed. You can see there's one 17 millimeter bolt in there, and then those 2 that bolted up to the side of this. All those cords I kind of just tucked away to the side over here. I have a couple other additional cords in there that you won't have, and you'll have your alternator cable in there as well. And then once you remove that, this cord will kind of be in the way right here. It has a little connector that connects into the block over here. I normally connect that way we can move this around here in a minute when we start pulling this pump out. So go ahead and disconnect that as well. Now we're going to get to removing this pulley. Alright guys, let's try this again. We're getting ready to remove that pulley. Now for this, I would recommend getting this kit. This is actually a power steering removal, pulley removal kit. Comes with, this is the actual remover, the puller, and the rest of this, this will be what we use to push the pulley back on when we're done. And then these other stuff is just some spare parts for different configurations. Now, just a word of advice. Some people may also have just a universal pulley removal kit or tool, kind of like this one. The problem is with the power steering pulley, you'll see this. This is what would actually grab on the pulley head when you're trying to remove it. But on a power steering pump, I found this universal one. These are too wide. This section here, it's too wide to actually grab onto the pulley. It's real thin. I'll show you when I get it off. So for me, I found this doesn't work for the power steering pulley. It'll work for other pulleys, but not the power steering one. You'll need this kit here. You can't really see it, but you can see how thin these are here compared to that other one. that actually fits right in there. So I'm going to hook this up and then show you what it looks like. Okay, I got this tool on there. Not sure how well you'll be able to see it. This fan's kind of close quarters here, but you can see I got the tool on there. It has this little ring that slides over. Let me spin it. Oh, right there. You can barely see it, but these are those two little pieces that you'll clip around the pulley, and then you'll slide the ring on once you get tension on this bolt here. And then let me see if I can get it. Yeah, there's a nut here. You'll need like a crescent wrench or something similar to that, an open-end ratchet. And then there's one on the end here. You can use a regular socket, and you'll turn those and it'll screw this screw in while these pull on the actual pulley, and it'll pull out. I'll try to film it. Probably won't be able to get it. I don't have a camera mount, but once it's off, I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, I got the pulley off here. You can see this is how that view that you saw in the truck a while ago with the tool on there. Try to show you kind of how that looks. Again, this was that ring, and that holds these little clamp teeth, so they slide over like that, and then clamp onto this side as well. And then you can see how the bolt pushes all the way in there to pull that pulley off. And like I said before, this is a real thin right here. You can see that there's no way this, well, the angle kind of sucks, but yeah, there's no way for this to get in there. This is just too thin, this old tool. So yeah, I need this pulley removal tool like this. But now that that's off, let's go up here. So now that that's off, you can see there's the pulley attachment here. So there's going to be these 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3. These are what are holding the power steering pump and reservoir. This is the actual pump itself. The reservoir being over here. And then also in the back, I don't think you'll be able to see it. Maybe. You see that bolt right there? That one also holds the power steering pump on as well. And then up there, let me try to get my finger to point at it. Right there. See that hole? That's a bracket. I already have the bolt out of that one. That also holds the power steering pump. So there's 1, 2, and then the 3 in the front. Just lost my light. 1, 2, 3. So go ahead and work on loosening those up, and show you how we'll get this pump out once those are out. Alright guys, let me try to explain what I did here. You can see I have the power steering pump up here, and I kind of lay it flat parallel. I already pulled it out and cleaned it, that way I could get the oil out of the way before I touch my camera. But there'll be one fluid hose here that taps into the top right here. I have a rag in there right now, but you can see this threaded connector here. And then there'll be another hose on this end that has a, where did he go? He's down here. He has a butterfly clamp on him. What I like to do is keep this attached and have him parallel here. And I like to pop this guy loose. That'll be a 5/8 inch or a wrench. Loosen him up. You should be able to thread him out with your fingers and keep it parallel. Again, there will be power steering fluid in this thing, so keep it flat as you can. And then once you have that accomplished, I like to take a pair of pliers and you know, pinch this butterfly connector and just slide this hose off. Now when you do that, mainly fluid will start coming out of this hose, not a lot. A little bit might drip out of here, but you have it up, so only what was in this little portion here will flow out. Just keep in mind, underneath you can also place some rags in here on the frame rail to catch some of that oil. I also have a drip pan under here placed with some towels or cardboard, whatever you're going to do, to catch any that may get past your rags. But once you do that, once you have those 2 hoses, you should be able to pull this guy out and just keep him even. Shit, let me get this cable. Tuck him out of the way, but you'll be able to pull him out, keeping him level as you can. Then once you do that, you know, you can set him in your drip pan and take the cap off and drain all the power steering fluid out of him. before we move forward. But that's kind of the order of things I like to do on that. Keep the fluid drain as minimal as possible. When I first did this several years ago, I just popped those hoses off when I had it up in there, and fluid completely drained out of this guy and went everywhere. So just keep in mind of that. Alright. Okay, now that we got the power steering pump and reservoir out, the reservoir is this outer section. The pump is this round circular part in the middle. You can see for this swap I'm replacing, I got a whole unit, pump and reservoir. Depending, sometimes you can also just buy the pump. I have one here as an example. You can just buy the pump by itself and reuse the reservoir. And you'll also, no matter which route you go, see, for me I got this whole new unit, but I still have to use my factory, these two bolts here, this one and this one. You'll have to reuse the OEM brackets there and place them in here on the new one. And the kit also comes with some O-rings and stuff that you can put in here to just find which one fits best. If you're just replacing the pump and reusing your reservoir, you're going to want to take out both these studs here. You also remove this this bolt here where that hydraulic hose or that fluid hose went into. Once you do that, you can just take like something small that fits in one of these. I like to just use this tool that came with the power steering removal kit. Place him in here and tap him with the rubber mallet. The pump will come out from the other side. Just take your time with that. But got a whole new unit. I'm going to put these brackets in here, O-rings, and we'll get to putting him back together. Alright guys, I got my new pump set up, ready to put in here. Excuse the angle for a second while I get him. What I like to do when I put this guy back in, go ahead and hook up your pressure line that goes in this, has this little pressure fitting screw in here. Go ahead and get him hooked up. You'll want him pretty much touching this return hose here when he's tight. And then if you recall, there's another line that comes in with the butterfly connector here. I like to not connect him yet until we get this guy seated in there and bolted up. Then we can put him back on. It's just easier to work with, not having to worry about him. Also, if you recall, there's the bracket that goes on this front side over here. Until you get this fed down in there, the pump and reservoir, and seated in the position that it kind of goes, I like to leave this off as well. That gives you more room to work, and this bracket won't catch on the edge of your exhaust here and stuff. So go ahead and leave him off too until you feed this guy down in there. And it'll take two hands for sure, but it's just kind of like putting one of those little puzzles together. You got to get him just right, and he'll slide right down in there. So I'm going to do that and show you what he looks like. Alright, just got the pump fed down in there. It was actually pretty easy this time with that bracket removed. Just make sure this cable's out of your way as well. And he should feed right down in there. I don't got him bolted up or anything yet, but you can see he's in there. And now that he's kind of down in there you can go ahead and, well, if I don't block all the light, but you can take your bracket and you'll feed him down in there where he goes and get him. Let me do it one-handed, then I'll show you. But you can see I got him over this bolt here. So he's down in there, and then you can put him back together. But yeah, leave the bracket off until you get the unit down in there. Then you can get it over the bolts that it goes on, and he'll be there to mount up. So that's another little word of advice. But now that this guy's kind of in here where he goes, if you remember this cable we pulled around this pulley attachment earlier, you can go ahead and pull him back over out of the way, get him back to where he goes, and now you can work on putting all these bolts back in, get these others on this other side, and once we do that, then we'll place our hydraulic hose back on here after we get him bolted up. Then we'll be ready to button all this back up. Okay, adjust my lamp. got the pump and all that bolted back up. Got the bracket put back on. Cable connected back up. So now we're at the point we're gonna return this pulley back to where it belongs on the pump output here. Yeah, let me show you how to. When you do that, don't put any kind of oil or lube or anything on this. You just want it to be metal on metal so it has a good connection from the pulley itself. We're going to use that push tool. I'll show you. Alright, for pushing the pulley on, we're going to use the tool that looks like this. And just be careful. There'll be, normally if you have the kit, it'll come with two different bolts. One of them's a little thinner on the end. Depends on your power steering pump which one of these will actually screw in. For me, this dual radius here was our dual diameter. This one was too thin. I had to go with the one that's the same size all the way down. And I'll show you how we attach that. Get some light. So I got the pulley lined up. You don't want to hammer this on there or nothing. Just push it on there till it feels snug by hand. Then you're going to take your, if I can get you a, nope, get the camera down here. There we go. So here's the pulley. Now you're going to take that tool and you're just going to screw this bolt into that pulley. Just keep screwing it in there till it stops. And then once you do that, you're going to tighten down this slide part until it's tight. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take a wrench here and then one on the end. This one you're going to turn clockwise and it'll push the pulley on as you hold this one steady, and you'll be able to twist this down the screw and push the pulley on. Alright, got the pulley put back on. Just be aware that it's pretty tight quarters in there and it's slow going, but just stick with it, you'll get it on there. You'll know when it's on. It won't really move much more. There'll be about a 1/4 inch in the back, but you also just want to make sure that the ridges on this other one line up with these. That's the belt will go across those and these as well, so you want them all in line. Depending how hard you have your tool on there, this will back off, but I had my bolt in there pretty solid and I can't get him out. It's hard to grab this and get him out, so you can just leave him in there till you get the belt on, and that'll give you a little more meat to hold on to, and then you can unscrew this bolt. But now that the pulley's on, I'm gonna put the belt on and start buttoning all this back up just like we took it off. Alright, just a word of advice: when you're putting the belt back on, I like to get it over all the pulleys and everywhere it goes, even the alternator, leaving this last one. This belt goes underneath this guy. I like to leave him on top. That way there's no lips or anything. It's really easy to slide it over this. Then when you release pressure on the tensioner with your wrench, like this, you can just use your other hand and just slide this right underneath there, if the light shows it very well. But that's the easiest way to do it. Some people leave the alternator off and then try to pull it over, but the thing is you have this lip, it makes it a little difficult. Just always do this one last and it goes underneath it. That's the easiest way I've found to do it. Alright guys, got the belt back on, got my tool removed because this is pretty solid. It's connected to the engine block, the camshafts and all that, so it doesn't move. Able to get my tool out. Now, just like we took everything apart, putting it all back together, got this power box put back on, all the cables hooked back up. In the meantime, I went ahead and filled this up to the cold level. On the dipstick, there will be a little indicator for cold fill level. Just go ahead and put that up to that. I have it in here for now, that way it can kind of settle. Some bubbles may pop out. If not, we'll bleed that here in a minute. I'll show you how to do that. But after that, go ahead and get your fan cover and all that put back together. Get your intake put back in, mass airflow sensor connected. Just like we took it apart, that's really all that's left. And there we go, focus. and I'll show you how to bleed it and everything once you get all that put back together. Alright guys, as you can see I got this all put back together. My light's not working too good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to move on to bleeding this sucker. If you look at manuals and other stuff, there's really only one recommended way to do it. I'll show you that in a minute. There's another way. You can also bleed it from the top end, which I like to kind of do sometimes. Just got a Mighty Vac tool here running through, and then here's the reservoir for the Mighty Vac, and then this is something I rigged up a while back. This is a little rubber stopper like you'd put on maybe an end of a chair or something. Everywhere has these. What I did, I put a little hole in the top, and the Mighty Vac comes with a bunch of little attachments. This is just one of the little needle attachments you can put down in there and then run the hose from there. And then I think this is a 1 1/4 inch stopper maybe, but anyway, it fits right over the top of your reservoir here pretty nicely. Something like that. And that'll allow me to build up pressure in there, vacuum with the Mighty Vac. And then as we bleed it from the inside by turning the wheel, it'll just help pull that air up even better than just the traditional method. So I kind of like to do both. Again, this, vacuuming it from the top is not necessary. I just think it helps a little bit better just to make sure we get all the air out of the system as we turn the power steering here in a minute. Alright guys, I got my Mighty Vac running through here. You can see I got some pressure built up, if it'll focus. Like 20 psi built up on there. Also underneath, I got the truck jacked up right in the center. You can do 2 jacks if you want. That'll allow just to get pressure off the tires and get them off the ground just a hair. Now we're going to go inside. So what the manual will tell you to do, for this first go, I just put my key in and, oh, son of a bitch, got to put the battery back on. Hold on. Alright, now we're coming inside, got the vacuum hooked up, which, like I said, you don't have to do, but what we're going to do, come in here, I'm going to turn on the accessory for a second. Now we don't have the truck started, so there won't be any power or anything built up yet in power steering.